Hi, my name is Carl Torstens. I'm a retired deputy warden out of New Mexico and Arizona. And today's brief training video is going to be titled Correctional Officers, Who's in Charge? There are 6 basic rules that we need to follow as a correctional officer, whether you're new or whether you're a veteran or old school. These rules have been in place for a very long time, and I think that following them or going back to the basics, which is sometimes a very good thing to do after a couple of years on the line, brings back the structure that you need in order to gain that ultimate goal in corrections, and that is voluntary compliance. So as a correction officer, there are certain basic rules the inmate needs to understand when they're dealing with you as a correction officer or a representative of the agency that you work for. The first rule is to establish who's in charge. Although I've numbered sometimes 200 to 1, there are simple rules that we have used over the years that have withstand the test of adversity and non-compliance. But you know, it all goes back to whether or not the manner that you deliver your message and the style, tone, body language, demeanor is all in concert with what you're trying to accomplish, and that is a compliance with your messages or your directives. It's also a known fact that we're dealing with individuals who probably know the rules better than we do, in the sense of, you know, staying up late every night and picking them apart and seeing where the technicalities are or loopholes are as to where they can get around to some of the things that we expect them to do. So the first thing we do is establish who's in charge. You're in charge. Your tolerance levels, your expectations, and your ability to get things done is the foundation of your job. The second rule is that you won't tolerate any nonsense under your supervision, under your observation, or in your presence. This includes horseplay that could lead to fighting and other incidents or behavior that is contrary to the basic institutional rules that you're hired to follow, or to enforce, rather. The prisoners are there to follow them. You're there to make sure that compliance is attained by being professional at all times and by presenting a demeanor that is conducive to the environment that you're working in. You must send a stern message that horseplay or fight is not allowed, that you won't tolerate any physical abuse or even mental abuse. And that includes enforcement of the safety rules and the what we call the tactics that bullies use on weaker individuals or those that are mentally ill or impaired, unable to take care of themselves as much as the other guys, you know, with diminished coping and functional skills. So they're easy to be preyed on and they're easy to be taken advantage of. So it's your job to make sure that you enforce the rules fairly and equally, so that everybody knows that when you're there and what your expectations are is exactly what the rule of law should be anytime and every time you're on duty. The third rule is based on the traditional approach and response. You know, attitudes play a big part in your job as a correctional officer, and attitude plays a big part as the prisoners when they talk to you or approach you and either demand or say things that are just not in the manner or tone that you expect them to behave. And you need to set them straight. You need to make sure that approach and response establishes respect, mutual respect, and it establishes that attitudes are gone, will not be tolerated. And therefore, as you talk to them and give them instructions or respond to their questions, make sure that they're attentive, that they're paying attention to what you're saying. There's nothing worse than having somebody blow you off when you're talking to them and disrespecting you in the sense of, yeah, I hear you, but not being serious about listening to what you're saying. So the third rule is the approach and response principle that's been in place for a long time. Let's talk about the fourth rule. The fourth rule is respect. The fourth rule is respect for other people's property, other people's things, and showing you won't tolerate the disrespect or breaking of personal items or issues that are important to others. It's the easiest way to maintain boundaries within a correctional setting. As we all know, that most conflicts result from misunderstandings, theft, and sometimes just downright vandalism and disregard for people's property. So teaching them about individual responsibility is a big part of your correctional officer, and the way that you expect them to behave is the way that they are expected to behave when they're released back into the community. So individual responsibility is one of the topics that you need to focus on as a correctional officer when you're in charge. Rule number 5 is very important in your professional relationship with inmates or incarcerated individuals. It's likely that they've already established patterns of deception and lying, and it's your job to make sure that if you catch them in a lie, you correct them right there on the spot and tell them you won't tolerate the deceptive behavior. Inmates are expected to lie. It's just one of their cultural codes and rules that we can't change. You know, there's an old adage that says, but if an inmate's moving his lips, he's probably lying. The truth of the matter is you don't have to tolerate individuals lying to you because it disrupts the environment that you are trying to protect or to secure. I think that when you take the consequences involved in the act of lying, you can reinforce the fact that they stand to lose privileges, they stand to lose their freedom, and they stand to basically be formally charged with making false statements if they continue that kind of misbehavior around you or to those that you work with. I think it's very important that you address these issues, and you address them immediately, if not on the spot, because sometimes they have hidden agendas about what they lie about that actually can be a consequence or a sequence to another misconduct or another act or misdeed that could lead into a violation of rule of law rather than just an institutional rule. The 6th and final rules in moving charge discourage playing you off. In other words, telling you that that's not how the other shift does it, that's not how the supervisor explained it to me, trying to play the dumb part and making you the individual that is wrong, turning the cards around on you. It's a blame game. It's the way that they manipulate being able to do some of the things that they aren't really allowed to do, and by saying or making references to other people and to other things to distract you from the fact that this is how you want to do it. It's up to you whether or not you want to accept this kind of behavior and tolerate it, or just put your foot down and say, my way. I don't care what the others have told you. This is how I want it done. Okay, don't fall for that game. Play to manipulate a determined outcome or desired outcome. Don't fall victim to that. Being in charge, okay, is a very difficult situation sometimes, but it needs the help and support of those that work with you, your supervisors, and your administration. You've got to work together in order to maintain a safe and secure and controlled environment. Consistency is the key to all these 6 rules when you come down to it, and it's effective communication. It's making sure that what you're saying has a foundation or a basis that is either written somewhere or understood, and that the environment mandates and dictates compliance to rules that are carried out by correctional officers in charge. As always, do your job, take pride in your work, and be safe. Thank you for listening to this video.